don't think there was any racism until Obama got elected. That we never had problems like this. I'm in the real estate industry. There's none. Now, with the people with the guns and shooting up neighborhoods and not being responsible citizens, that's a big change. And I think that's the philosophy that Obama has perpetuated on America. And if you're black and you haven't been successful in the last 50 years, it's your own fault. Mm-hmm. I think that when we look at the last 50 years, where are we and why? We have 3 generations of all still having unwed babies, kids that don't go through high school. I mean, when do they take responsibility for how they live? I think it's due time, and I think that's good that Mr. Trump is pointing that out.
What's important, and it's we do things for humor. Hi, this is Ed Fields along with Rogan Smith and Kendrick Williams. First of all, where were you?
Pull your mic. Pull your mic.
I was on the morning shift. Sorry, the midday show. Hope
Did you announce that to us?
Yes, he did. He told me.
You did?
He told me he wouldn't be here Monday.
He told you?
Yes.
He told me too?
You were busy talking to Goldsmith.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we got everything checked
yes,
out. Okay?
But he did.
Now, okay, because there's a lying thing that goes on with him that I just can't get it. Anyway, but no, the reason I played that clip is not because of what that woman said, because obviously she's an ignoramus. By the way, she's the chairman of the Trump campaign in Ohio. But because I all of these years, Rogan Smith, we've been talking with people from family planning. We've had people on. And now we're talking about unwed babies. I didn't know about that demographic.
It's
so
I want
to bring some of them on. I want to bring some of them on, thesunwed babies, and find out what they did. Okay, because I ain't like that guy.
You did, Betty, now. Because hey, I knew what she meant, right? But when you pointed out,
no, I didn't know what she meant.
Come on, you unwed mothers. That was just too funny.
No, it's unwed babies.
That's from the Daily Show.
Let me tell you something. No, that wasn't from the Daily Show. No, that's a woman. That's
no,
real.
No. But they interview real newsmakers.
Oh yeah,
as well.
but this was I don't remember what that was from. She was on CNN or something.
Because the way the camera zoomed into the guy who was interviewing her, I thought for sure that was the Daily Show.
No, she was on CNN or something. Let me tell you.
No,
this is
real,
called
newsmakers.
No, this is from. I'll tell you what it's from. Hold on. I'll tell you where it's from.
Because
it's from
the Daily Show's been
The
on
Guardian.
Okay,
I don't know what that is.
That's in the UK.
Okay. Well, they probably just picked it up. They might have just picked it up.
If you look at the angle of how they zoomed in on him, it looked almost like like satire.
But well, it is satire because all around Ohio, wherever you go, they're running around these unwed babies, and I can't deal with it. So anyway, what else? No, listen. Let's talk a little bit about the Trumpster. We have to see these. It's like if we were in Egypt in whatever BC that was, we'd have to talk about the building of the pyramids. You know what I mean? You just can't ignore the pyramids. Well, what's that building there? It's a pyramid.
What are we, like 5
Do you think
weeks
people
away?
back then knew it was a pyramid? I don't know.
We're 5 weeks away from the election in the
40
US.
days. 40 days. I think it's over now. I think
over for whom?
For Trump. He's sinking. He's going down because you know what? Let me tell you. There's one demographic, only one, that needs to be baked in. Check all the statistics out. It is white, college-educated women. Okay? Now, I know you want to talk about your girl, Miss Universe. No. This segues into it because what he did on the debate, he made sure he wasn't getting them no more.
The Latinos?
No. The white, educated women. Because he's just so misogynist.
Oh, yeah. They had, I can't remember if it was CNN. I believe it was CNN. They did, or NBC, I'm sorry. Yeah. During the debate, they had a focus group.
Okay, and they were
made up
hitting
of
the
Republicans, and so they had buttons. Like they would react based on what was said by both candidates. And he was going down. Hillary was going up, and they asked one of the ladies, who I guess she was Republican or whatnot, and they said. What does Donald Trump need to do moving forward? And she said he needs to answer the question that's asked and shut the hell up afterwards. Because he just goes on and on. He doesn't know when to stop.
Why not?
And a black woman who was Republican said after the racial comments, there's no way she could vote for this guy.
Why not? No. That's even during the debate. That's what he was doing.
Like, so.
Where'd you get that?
That makes me smart.
I actually think that he has
That makes me
short-term memory issues because let me tell you something. Or there's a combo. There's a combo. The combo is he has short-term memory issues because he's 70, so maybe he has short-term memory issues. Maybe he smoked a lot of dope. I don't know because he had to smoke a lot of dope, but he has style. Okay, right. Or he never planned on being in politics because the stuff that he did
during this debate or before?
No, before in his life. Mm-hmm. You can't do those things.
And expect to run for highest office
right.
of the land.
So now he has to just lie because you can't say, I said that. Okay. Yes, I said that it's an inconvenience for business. Even if that's true, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is
talking about the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Pregnant women.
But the thing I freak out on is how does he say I didn't say that?
And then
but here's the tape, Don.
We'll just go right to this clip.
Here's the tape.
Then he'd be like, oh, okay.
And but he says, yeah, but I didn't say it in that context.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a tweet he has about he believed that global warming
was like a
is a hoax
perpetrated or
it was created
by the
Chinese to whatever.
Yeah.
I never said that.
And then they just refer right to the tweet. Who is that?
People. Not right now. Yeah. But just have a seat. We're not right now. What's with the? Can you do me a favor? Because we're on the air. The guy with the noise is coming from. Ask him to turn it down, please. Yeah, you'll hear the noise. Just go and ask him to turn it down.
Just tell him to turn it down a bit, please.
Yeah, because it's every day. So it's just this kind of like I was saying to someone on who I'm having a tit-a-tat with on Facebook, right? I was like, you know what? You're living in a different world, a different universe. I'm trying to say that you can drink water, and you're saying that water is actually a solid. I can't. I can't.
You can't debate with someone like that. You can't even have a conversation with someone like that if they're just that far gone.
Yeah.
But I was watching the CNN. I don't know why I was so glued into CNN, but watching what's his name, Anderson Cooper. He had an exclusive interview with Alicia Machado. She's the Miss Universe, former Miss Universe. That.
Yeah. By the way, they've all had exclusives, but go ahead.
Yeah, but there you go. Whatever. That Donald Trump was talking about. Who he called? What did he call her? Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy.
And Miss Housekeeping.
Miss Housekeeping.
And I could hear him saying that too. But
and he had her work out in front of reporters. But he does, and then he said, Bill O'Reilly last night asked him, so what else you know about this thing or whatever? What else you have to say about this? And he goes, I don't even know the woman. I don't know who she, really, I don't know who she, and I like when he does it.
Machado.
I really don't know her.
And the fingers,
I
got it.
I really don't know her. I don't know her. See, I like when he talks and he says, I don't know her. And then before he finishes the her, he starts again. I don't know her. I don't know her. I don't know her.
He has to convince himself of the lie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know her. Really, I don't know her.
But really and truly, she's not voting for him. Obviously, she'll be voting for Hillary Clinton. Duh. But she came across as a little sketchy to me when I was watching the interview, and I don't know if it's because she has a pretty thick accent, but she doesn't speak English that well.
Yeah.
But she just came across as like a chicken head to me.
Well,
for real. She was telling, I'm so happy to be
yeah, but
here
listen,
with
I don't
you,
want to
Anderson Cooper.
Let me say this to you. I don't want to be disparaging, but beauty contests. No, that's all. Let's just move on.
Listen to me. Because
let's move on from that because people are going to criticize me.
But listen.
Yeah.
My point is, she was so sketchy in the interview that it kind of made me look at Donald a little differently. Like, I don't like him, right?
I don't look at him differently.
But she was just a little too slim shady for me.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
I don't feel she's shady. I feel that she is just, I don't even want to say it. I'm afraid to say it. But the bottom line is this. She was 18 years old. She was 117. See, this is what I keep on telling people, I don't care about what she said or he said and all that. You know what I focus on? He doesn't know her. I don't focus on.
He knows her.
That's the point. I don't focus on that. I said I was at the moon, or how. He would say, "Okay, here's the deal. I said that water doesn't exist. Okay, now later on, someone will say, Donald, you said water doesn't exist, and he would say, No, I said that water in its present form doesn't exist. But Donald, you said you didn't even say it.
Yeah.
Okay, forget about the context.
And then he'll be like, just like he'll do like the wave of the hand, like it's not a big deal.
So that's my thing. Is just he just can just like like he has an eraser in his mind, and he just erases things. Okay, because I don't know it, because I don't remember it. You
They
don't
won't
remember it
either.
Okay. Oh, come on. It's sad. It's sad.
So you didn't watch the debate.
No, because I couldn't handle the stress. I can't handle the stress waiting for someone to
Let me
explode.
say this though. For me, I watched it from top to bottom,
Yeah.
and I hear people saying that Hillary won the debate. Neither of them won to me. She outperformed him. She outperformed him, that's for sure. But I mean, she had some serious deficiencies as well.
Yeah, but in the context of the entertainment world, because that's all this is entertainment,
Well,
right?
he was more entertaining.
She
if it-
she slammed him, man. She slammed him on
She
some
didn't
points.
slam him, you know. What
When
she
she
did
did
was
with, like,
she
the
let
presidential?
she let him hang himself.
Like
is
I'm
what she
prepared
did.
to be president. That's a slam.
Well, that's one
That's
slam.
a slam. Boom. That's a Hulk. Boom.
That's one slam.
Okay. And about the one with stamina. Boom.
Okay, if you call it a slam.
When she said, you know,
Maybe her delivery isn't. If Obama were
not
delivering it,
yeah,
she's not good at delivering
no,
punchlines.
No. But like that's why I said that guy Charlie Sykes said after he analyzed it again, she just led him into the slaughter.
She let him run on and on
And he's
on.
just smirking?
And interrupting her.
No.
What's your boy name with the
Why?
forehead? Lester.
Lester.
What's his last
I
name?
think he's actually
Holt?
Bert. Is it Bert or Ernie on Thingham?
Bert from Sesame Street.
Is he? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's
Forehead?
which one is Bert? The big one?
Bert is the
top?
no. Ernie is the wide head
Bert
one.
is the
Bert
tall.
is the long one
That's
who
Lester.
keeps the stamp
Yeah,
collection
yeah.
like
Lester.
oatmeal.
You could show a movie on Lester's forehead. We'll be right back.
Followers sort of predicted Hillary's health problems before they were revealed. I went to a Trump rally to find out what else they know that the rest of us don't. So what do you think's going on?
It could be Parkinson's. It could be MS.
It could be AIDS.
What makes you think she has AIDS?
Way her husband used to be.
So you think Bill had AIDS?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, hold on.
So how did Bill Clinton get AIDS?
Probably messing around with Magic Johnson.
That's it. That's I know. See, I can't vote, but that's it. I'm voting for Trump now, because let me tell you why.
These are his supporters, by the way.
I'm learning. Yeah, I'm learning so much.
From
I'm learning about a new demographic, unwed babies, and now I've learned because you know my man Bill, he's been to the Bahamas several times. You know, he's been to the Bahamas like 3-4 times. I met him. So I got a picture with Bill. Little did I know that Bill was gay. Didn't know it. It's not a problem. I don't have a problem.
And got AIDS from Magic Johnson.
But Magic. I knew Magic had AIDS.
Oh,
But I didn't, because everyone knows. Everyone knows. That's why he had to quit. But now, here it is. Hillary has AIDS because she
Because her
got it from
husband,
Bill,
who got
who's
it
been
from
fooling
Magic
around with Bill.
Johnson.
What kind of
Magic
cycle
Johnson.
is this? Okay?
I mean, the Daily
Oh.
Show has been killing it with these interviews
You
of
know,
the Trump supporters.
But this is also, let's reflect back here now for a second.
Oh, you want to get serious?
No, just to reflect back in here. You know, this is why one of the things and again, you know, I always give this little thing about why we try to do this show. Because we've got to get past the blind following. Okay? Because that's what this is. They're just saying anything. It doesn't matter. You've got to dig in, folks.
They're saying it because they believe it.
Yeah, but they don't know. They haven't dug in. Someone told them this. Someone mentioned it to them. Anything that someone who they because they hate the other person, that person can never say anything truthful. The person who they support, and this is on both sides. The person who they support can never say anything that's not truthful. That's a lie. We have to, folks, when we're dealing with this whole political thing, we have to take the time to read, to study. When you hear someone say something, you know, and everyone. You know, this is in the days of where everyone had you had your encyclopedias at home. Everyone is walking around with an encyclopedia. Okay? And you can research, and you could even research and question, is it true or false?
Do you know what? It makes me question people's minds, though. I mean, because some things are just so outrageous, so outlandish. Like, why would you even believe it? And if you think this is funny because we're watching American Trump supporters, that happens right here
That's
in
what
this
I'm saying.
country.
That's what I'm trying to
These
say.
Bahamians do this
I
all
am
the time,
saying
and it
that we
frustrates
have
me to no end.
This is what happens here. That's why I say bringing it back home, because we just hear something, and it's like,
And we
you
run
know,
with it.
and I don't, the reason you're running with it is because, first of all,
Maybe it's easier for
chances
them to
are,
understand.
Well, chances are when you decide you're opposed to someone, there's a whole bunch of reasons why you're opposed to that person, other than the person you know. You don't know the person, but because let's say Kendrick is your friend, and you want to support Kendrick for the rest of your life. You want to, do everything for Kendrick because Now, as a result of that, if I'm opposing Kendrick, I'm now on an issue, not on because I don't like issue. Like, well, Kendrick and I disagree with the makeup of water H2O. Kendrick says it's H49. Okay,
which he does, by the way.
Okay, yeah. And I say, well, listen, the scientists, like all the scientists, say it's H2O, 2-part hydrogen, 1-part oxygen. Scientists, they ain't know nothing. In fact, the scientists, as you know, they have AIDS. Okay, so see, you then go on to another thing. You not even, you just start railing because all you want to do is support Kendrick. So we got to go where you, as Kendrick supporter, if Kendrick says it's H29 and I say it's H2O, you can actually look that up. Mm-hmm. Now you have some people who's so deep.
They ain't looking up anything.
No, they can look up at the Google.
It don't mean nothing.
They communists.
Google
is communist.
Google wrong.
Yeah. Okay. So.
No, but that scares me, man.
Why does it scare you?
I mean, why shouldn't it scare me that these people, let's just even talk about these Trump supporters. These are people who are going to be deciding on the next president of the United States. If it's back here at home and it's, an election or something like that, those people going into a booth, they scare me.
Actually, but you know how it rails out for the most part? We hope.
An absence of
we hope
sense.
that the people who are in the middle, because you have those baked in people, right? That the people in the middle are actually people who do look up. And hopefully they can make the difference. And that's why it's important to vote. That's why it's important to vote, because they can make the difference.
Have you registered?
Yes, no. I was going to lie. I was going to lie. Because
I
didn't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah.
I meant to go. I even have my passport. I'll go. I'll do it tomorrow. If I come back here on Monday and I have not registered, let me just look at my schedule. Because you're going to like this one. No, you're going to like this one. You're going to like this one. Hold on.
I expect a man like
you're going to like this one, man. Hold on.
What?
Hold on, bye.
And
you're going to like this one.
They're at the Cable Beach Post Office. I see
right
them
there.
So go right
so
there.
how are you going to like this one? If on Monday,
you give me money?
I give you no money.
No?
What are you, a street woman? Listen to me. If I come here on Monday, and that's a euphemism because I can't say the real word because of Urka. If I come here on Monday and I have not registered, you can spike me.
Don't let me buy. I'd rather the money.
No, well, you're not going to get either.
What are
That's
you?
the point I'm making.
You're a street man. Like, what do you want me to spank you for?
Well, I might like that. So I might even get registered.
I ain't into it. So
okay.
You give
Next
me
thing you know, no, I didn't register. I'm bending over. Kendrick, someone spank me.
I can have someone spank you. That's what
What's
it
that?
is. I'll have someone spank you.
Whomever. But I'm going to,
Male or female?
Well, once it's with a belt.
No.
I want the belt.
You don't dictate how it's done.
What are you going to spank me with?
Maybe a frying pan or something like that.
No, that doesn't sting.
Oil your boogie up
that'll only make it kind of like a blunt force. What do you call it?
Yeah,
blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
I don't want any blunt force trauma. Okay? I don't want the BFT. Okay? All right? So,
you'll just give me $100 if you don't register. Anybody into
well, you're not getting any $100 from
what?
me. I'm going to register tomorrow. On the way to work, I'm going to start. I hear it takes very little time.
Well, I'm committing you to pay me $100 on Monday if by the time
if I'm not registered.
Just like how you was committed.
Of course, so I guess I have to produce the card because I could just lie. I could be like my man Trump.
They don't give you the card. They'll give you the little receipt thingy. So bring that.
All right, you got a receipt.
All right.
I probably have a couple of them home now.
I know which one it is. I already registered.
But anyway, it's listen, folks. All I'm saying to you is, and by the way, our guest this afternoon is going to be Mr. Richard Lightbourne, who's the current member of Parliament for Montague for the Free National Movement. All I'm saying to you is this: please, it's a beg, really, it's a beg, is to take the time, just take the time to discover for yourself. Mm-hmm. Don't let anyone, whether it's me, whether it's Rogan, whether it's Kendrick, whether it's Richard who's coming on the show, whether it's whomever you run into, there's a plethora, there's a tsunami
at your fingertips
of information and resources at your fingertips that never ever existed. And you know what I like about the Googles? You could just write in anything. You could just like I wrote in what is the person's name for who said that Obama there was no racism before Obama? Just write a sentence
and it'll pop
up. So there's no excuse to not know, and and then they'll give you a whole range of things. Some will say it'll maybe be false that the person said it, or they'll give you.
Just do your own
do your homework.
research.
Yeah. And you know what? You know how to do research because you know how to look up that porn. Okay? You know how to look up that porn. You know how to look up all those nasty social media things, all
That's
those
what I
things.
always
People say things about people.
You know what's so funny? I remember during the referendum time when people would complain and say, well, especially to me, they'd say, well, I didn't see the questions yet. I said, but you could go online and search. And I said those same thing for those porn and all this nasty stuff that you can't find 4 bills.
Those people, they were all named Ray Charles and Jose Feliciano.
Hi.
And Stevie Wonder.
Stevie.
They were blind.
No, they were quite
You see,
able to see.
I have a very difficult time. See, first of all, before you can even say I haven't seen the question yet, you should look up the question so that you don't say that. Okay? Because all I had to say was referendum questions. Because I think it probably because Google probably had so much of that.
People searching for it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of information out there. Don't believe the newspapers. Don't believe don't believe anything. There is.
Well, you can't say don't believe anything.
No. What I'm saying, what I mean is, don't take it as gospel. Check it, fact check. You know what they do all the time? They fact check, cross check. That's the word.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's misinformation, but sometimes it's run in a different context. Sometimes you don't get the full story. One of the things I would always criticize the newspapers here for is that there is not a great deal of historical reference. So they'll talk about the issue or the thing that's happening now, but they don't give, say, 3-4 paragraphs of what happened in the past. Not all, but
some do.
Yeah. So this is your chance. This is your opportunity this year. Well, first of all, you have to register, but next year, when you go to vote, you should go to vote based on knowledge, not on emotion. Not to say that isn't out of there. Yeah, that's a part of it. But look, everyone has a right to vote however they want, and you don't have to vote based on knowledge. You don't have to vote based on fact, to be honest with you. You can based on emotion. That's your choice. But if you want to know, you have the capacity to know.
I know we're running out because we have like 2 more minutes, but I wanted to talk about that video that I had posted on Facebook. Which area was that out east? Twynham Heights.
Well, you see what I said, right?
You were spot on, and somebody else said that as well. I was so disappointed to go into the area. I thought I'd always heard great things about Twynham Heights, about how clean it was. It was a well-to-do area. And just going through there a few days ago and seeing the volume of trash, and not just like regular garbage, but like refrigerator.
A whole house.
And
I had that
dryer.
when I lived on Soldier Road. I
disgusting.
had an empty lot, and I got home one day, and this is a big mound. Just
Right
a mound.
next to your house?
I had a piece of property right next to my house that I had, and literally, like you could run a motorcycle up it, and listen
on the course. That's disgusting.
One
man.
time along, the road out west by Island House.
Yes.
There used to be a lot of garbage.
Really?
Lots. And one time I went, and you know the thing about garbage? It has an identity. Garbage almost always has an identity. So I went and I looked at the box, and it said Rogan Smith on the box. And it said the address because it was being delivered to that thing. So I called the person. They were a resident of Lyford Key. I said, look, do you realize that the garbage and the boxes and stuff that your stuff was delivered in is laying on the street? And they said, what? And they were able to track me or to put me in contact with the company they hired
to remove the stuff.
To remove the stuff. And they then called that company, the people, and said, if you don't move that stuff, you will be banned from Lyford Key, from delivering in Lyford Key. So there's ways, like for instance, I'm assuming that good citizens are buying new furniture, new refrigerators, because every time you see a refrigerator in the road, that means that someone have a new refrigerator. And you give a guy a little $25 or $50.
But I would assume you're taking it to the dump. I would assume you're taking that $25 and just dumping it.
Now, see, this is where you're complicit.
No.
When I say you, not you. I'm talking about people.
I pay people to take it to the trash.
Right. See, this is where we need to find out if we're going to dump something that it costs X to go to the trash.
Yes.
Okay? So if you're going to give someone something, you better give them X
extra
plus
exactly.
the tip. But guess what? They ain't taking it even with that. So you're gonna have to arrange for like
I've gone with people in their trucks to take
right.
stuff to
You're
the
gonna
trash.
or you have to arrange for some professional, dumping company to do it because listen, just recently learned that the government, the government pays contracts to put garbage in the bag, rake up the side of the road, and then
I've
they
seen
pay
people like that.
people to pick up the bags and to discard them in the dump. They can put it to another corner.
We have like bushy. I have like bushy area, like a bushy area
Yeah,
where I
but
live.
you see a lot of bags.
And every time, no, because I, along with my neighbors, we always keep a lookout for when people coming through. Sometimes people will come on with like a truck coming real slow, and
You're
I know
like the Charles Bronson of wherever you live at.
Oh yeah, and I
Death
will
wish.
stop my car and I will sit in my car. I don't care if it takes 40 minutes, and they'll leave.
So you're one of those insane types.
Yes, I am. Don't
Okay.
dump nothing near my house.
Well, that's
We
good.
try
I
to
like.
keep it clean.
I
I'm
like that.
serious
Yeah.
about that.
No, and that's what we have to do as neighbors too. And that's why it's like you said
I
on
write
the
down
post.
tag numbers
You
and
should
everything.
You should try to fence in your yard. It's not just to keep vagrants out or property rights. It's to keep people from
Yep.
dumping.
And keep
but it's
keep it
it's
clean.
sad that we have people with the mentality that would say, you know what, I don't care about these people in this neighborhood. I'm just going to dump the stuff.
That was one street
Yeah.
I posted. You
Yeah.
should see the rest. It's disgusting,
Yeah.
man. People's investments, hundreds of thousands.
This
of
is
dollars
where I
in
want to
their homes.
employ, other measures.
We need CCTV all throughout this island. I swear.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
We gotta
listen.
take a
When
break.
we come back, we're going to take a news break, and we come back, we'll talk with Mr. Richard Lightbourne, who
Montague
is
MP.
Montague MP, and we'll find out what's going on in his life. Later. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Ed Fields here, along with Rogan Smith, and Kendrick Williams is on our board there.
I gotta send a little shout out to Denisha Balboni, who says she loves listening to the show.
Uh-huh.
So she likes the
Okay.
jokes.
Throw a little shout out.
There
You
go,
can throw a
Denisha.
shout out.
Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it.
I by the way, and I was going to do it, but I'm not going to do it again.
What's that?
I wanted to read the note again, but I'm not going to do it. I'll do it another
note?
time. The note that described the gift. The gift describing note. Her mother gave me a gift, a keychain, and then and sent me a note that described it. It was good because I didn't know what it was about. So anyway.
Jokes, but I don't,
No, I don't want to hear your
I don't
jokes,
know how you
man.
want to-
Listen, Richard, good to see you. Listen,
Thank you.
it's an interesting thing because I think maybe we've had, maybe 3 politicians on. Okay, Mr. Christie, Mr. Rollins. We had some other politicians on, but
like
in other
Leslie Miller. Not to talk about politics
right,
specifically,
right.
but like
although
the hurricane
we
or
did have
whatnot.
Alfred Sayers on when he announced his thing. We had him on.
Right.
And so we don't always want to just talk about raw politics because it is what it is. But obviously there's
have
some
to,
subject
though.
we have to talk about. So first of all, Mr. Richard Lightbourne, are you officially not running in the next election?
I'm not running in Montague, no.
Okay, all right. See, now you throw that little loop on us, man.
Not in Montague,
You're
but
not running in
you'll be
Montague.
offering in another constituency, perhaps.
No, there's been no discussion in that regard.
Okay.
Can't say that's not a impossibility, but
Right. Okay.
no at this point.
All right. And
Sorry, and no consideration to you leaving the FNM and perhaps going independent. No consideration for that for you.
No, I have not considered that. No.
okay. So see, we got that out of the way. We got those questions out of the way.
Oh, I have follow-ups.
Well, yeah, but you see, this is
I
gonna be a
have
no.
follow-ups.
But go do your follow-ups.
No, okay, so I mean,
She's
so
still,
talk to
I tell you, she's still a reporter lad. I always tease
guess
about
it-
that.
it
Sounds
can't-
like
it ain't going
Sounds like
nowhere.
an insurance agent to
You
me.
want to move on to like the good old
You heard what
days.
he just said? You don't
What'd he
sound
say?
like no insurance agent to him.
I can hit you up with some insurance after this. But I mean, what has been your feel, or what have you taken away from Montague over these past 5 years? Do you think that your constituents would want to see you come back to represent them for another 5 years? What are they saying on the ground?
I feel I've made a good connection with the constituents in Montague. I think my work has been appreciated. Yes, I've very much enjoyed my time, and even though I would not be in Parliament representing Montague, I still intend to retain a connection with a lot of people there that have become a part of my life. Yeah.
So let's ask the hardest question, and that is, obviously, the convention. and you made a speech. And I assume that if that speech hadn't been made, we wouldn't be asking the first question.
Exactly.
Now, Richard, I can disclose, Richard is a friend of mine. I know Richard to be probably one of the nicest, and that's a kind of a, if you're looking to get a girlfriend, nice, they don't, what like,
They
yeah,
want
no,
you.
nice, okay? But one of the nicest gentlemen that I know, period, full stop. But you made a statement at the convention, and would you say that statement is really the crux of why you're not running?
If it is, I don't think it should be.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it did send off a few surprises at the convention. It was certainly the wrong place in which to make such a statement, and the wrong place to consider the issue that I was really seeking to address.
Right.
What precipitated that statement?
The when you see every day the condition in which a lot of our people live, and and again, I didn't mention black or white or Chinese in my statement, and I'm not suggesting that this is something that is only something that's affecting the black members of the community. It affects everybody, the poor white people, the poor black people. So when I go into my constituency and I see a lot of young ladies who have several children, very often by different men, and the father of these children plays no part whatsoever in the child's life, whether emotionally or financially. And I think, to me, that is such a terrible wrong. So when I see these young ladies come into my headquarters, in many cases seeking help in trying to find employment, they have the problem with a number of children, and as I say, the father is playing no part whatever in the child's development. So when I see their pain, it hurts me that they are living in this environment where they can't get any support, any real support from the legal system in this country, and that's why the first point that I addressed in my contribution at the convention was the need for legislation which would enable a court to garnish a father's salary.
That doesn't exist now?
No.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
You can get an order from the court that you pay so much a week, a month, or whatever it is.
Very minimal.
But and it is a minimal amount. And when you listen to the stories of the young, not necessarily young, the mother of these children going down to court to collect the money. They go to court, no money's been paid that week. So come back next week. You come back next week,
No money.
no money. Come back a third week, maybe no money again. So at some point, the woman, just in despair, she stops going. Or she may go the fourth week, and there is some money, but it's still 3 weeks in arrears. The woman has a life, the mother has a life, she has to worry about her children, and often, more often than not, it's the responsibility is placed on the mother to look after the children. In most instances, I think they live with the mother. So at some point, she gets totally frustrated. Then they will go and take out an order for the father to come to court, and they will cite him for contempt. So he then has to. So you're going to apply to have him committed to prison for contempt
So now
for
he
not
has no
paying the
salary.
order. Well, no, but it doesn't end
Doesn't-
there
okay.
because you go to court for the hearing that he's supposed to appear. Well, you find out he hasn't been served, or they can't find him, and so the frustration just continues, and it's never ending. And so until we get to the point where the the fathers are compelled to accept responsibility.
In the same way that, say, for instance, a car loan that comes out of your salary goes into the person's
Right.
the business's account.
That is correct.
Mr. Lightbourne, do you think that your race exacerbated the controversy for your statements? Somebody said to me, I was one of those people who was very shocked by the statements, but someone said, right message, wrong messenger, and they were referring to your race. So what part do you think your race played in that controversy? That if it were said by somebody else who perhaps
Well,
was black, wouldn't have been taken, as strongly.
I have been told the same thing by a number of people, that they would agree with the comments people have made to you, yes. I think it's a little unfortunate that we're still in that state in this country, that we can't look to people as simply Bahamians, and we're not thinking that they're going to make immediately somebody says a comment and you think it's a white person and suddenly it's racist because it came from a white person. That's crazy. My wanting to get involved in politics was in an effort to make a real change in our country, to try and improve the situation of our citizens and to start developing some sort of sensible and honest government that would be for the benefit of us all. But
A lot of
much
people
is-
think of Montague and they think, because of the demographic. But the reality is a good portion of Montague is in the Camp Road area, correct? What's the relationship you have with the folks in the urban part of your constituency?
Well, I like to feel I've developed a good relationship with a lot of the residents there, and to some degree I have focused my attention to trying to help them. One way that I have found to enable me to get a little closer with them is I enjoy cooking, master chef and all that. So
You're a master chef?
Oh yeah. So I
All right.
produce
Well,
my
let us know when
world-famous,
Rogan can come around.
Yeah, no problem. we can arrange
You
that. Yeah.
go, hook it up.
Okay, so you
So I enjoy that.
Uh-huh.
It's I think it's something that's very much appreciated, and it is a good way of socializing with your constituents. A lot of hungry people there. There are a lot of people that are hurting, and a lot of people that don't get a square meal a day. A lot of the children don't go to school because they don't have enough. The parents don't have enough money to give them a few dollars to buy lunch. It's a problem. It's a terrible problem, and so as you say, a large portion of the Montague constituency, or perhaps in numbers, probably about half the constituency come from the Kemp Road area and over to Mackey Street and up to Wolf Road. Yeah.
I want to ask one last question on this, and I mean you can jump in if you have another question. But I'm thinking back to a comment you made earlier when I asked you about your pronouncements on the convention floor, and you said, it was in the appropriate venue. Is that to say that you still believe what you said, and it just was in the right venue, or do you just totally, disavow yourself from those statements completely?
Well, some people lose the moral of the story. The moral of the story wasn't two words that people are going to get offended by, and that certainly wasn't what I was aiming at in saying what I said. My goal is to address an issue which the country has been avoiding for many, many years. We continue having children born to young girls, and the child starts off in life with a sorry beginning because they don't have, as I say, they don't have the parental support in the house. They don't have the financial resources to provide the basics.
If you had to wordsmith that again, let me put it to you this way. I think this may be what Rogan may be getting at. Obviously, you're dealing with the issue in its broader context of family planning.
Right.
Okay? So if you had to wordsmith that again, wouldn't it be something where you would be more, because it came across, I think, more like something that should be mandatory for one, which I assume that obviously he wouldn't continue to hold on to, and two, that if it were wordsmithed again differently, it would be more aimed at getting very serious with respect to family planning.
Yeah, that is correct. That is where we were headed, and there was certainly nothing in what was said that would talked about state-imposed system of any kind. So, unfortunately, people have added a lot to what was said and said things which just were not there. And of course, a convention isn't the sort of place where you would discuss that sort of issue. That may be the issue you discuss in your meetings at convention and create a policy for the party moving forward. Yeah.
All right, well, listen, we're going to come back with Richard Lightbourne. I don't want anyone to say we dodged the questions, because we didn't. Those are the direct as you could get. When we come back, we'll talk about Richard's future in politics and something even more important, the future role of white Bahamians in politics, because there seems to have been this dismissive approach to the whole thing. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Well, yeah. So we had how I'm going to end this thing is this, is to say. By the way, first of all, Ed Fields here along with Rogan Smith and Mr. Richard Lightbourne, MP. We had, and I forget his name. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. The gentleman who we had for Family Planning Association. I forget. That's my fault. I take full responsibility. But here, someone said, well, for a man to be talking about a woman's reproductive rights, very valid, but certainly it doesn't eliminate the right for men to talk about family planning. That's why I focused on this issue of the wordsmithing. The gentleman who was in charge of family planning was a man. We have a problem, which we need to address with regard to family planning. That's why we have a family planning association. If we didn't have a family planning a problem, we wouldn't have a family planning association. So I think it's always about, these are the things about politics, Richard Lightbourne. When you put that pen to paper, and you state what's on that pen to paper, like I go through things a million times to make sure what angle is someone going to come back, because there's always someone who is going to be offended. And it's just the extent to which that offense is taken, But I want to go back to on this issue of the white man, and see, where everyone's always uncomfortable with these topics. But here we have a population that is 85% black, 15% white. Many, many years ago, the minority were the governing persons in politics and excluded the majority from politics. Now, have we done this kind of weird imbalance to where the white man is excluded from politics? And the thing about a democracy is that, we always talk about democracies are also there to protect minorities as well.
Absolutely.
So where do you see white Bahamians with regard to politics in the Bahamas? Is there a future? I mean, that sounds so prehistoric to even say that. But do you see the continued role being ostracized, non-accepted, or can we change that?
I would hope that we are at the point that the color of your skin doesn't determine whether you run for office or not. So I see no reason why we shouldn't have Chinese members, Indian members, whatever.
Right. You're Bahamian.
You're Bahamian. I would hope is the primary concern. Now, certainly there may be areas where you wouldn't be as welcome as you might be in others, but I think we've gone a long way in accepting the fact that a person is entitled to run in for political office and is welcome, whatever the color of the skin, whatever their origin.
I suppose, and I'm going to throw this out at you because obviously you ran in a constituency that had a demographic that while you may have been more favorable to you in the first instance, obviously if you'd run this time, because of your connection with the constituents in Camp Road, might not have made a difference in terms of the color of your skin. But does it mean, though, Richard, because one of the weaknesses in our system is how we select candidates. For instance, if you had decided 5 years ago for the 2017 election, you were going to run in Baintown. Just let's say you made that decision. Would you have made the decision to go into Baintown and to get to know the people of Baintown so that the people of Baintown got to know you? So then that issue of the color of your skin now goes away. Yeah. Is that the path to future candidacy for people of all hues, no matter what, socioeconomic differences, etc.? Is that the path?
I think that that it is that we don't take into account enough the fact that the person is known in a constituency. It's often more on a political. Mr. Fields will fit into this seat, and perhaps not into that seat, but you may have no real connection with it. I mean, at one time, I think the FNM has, I think, over the years, had a couple of instances where they had a little runoff, where it's not simply
Freeport as well.
Right. Yeah. So it wasn't decided simply on the basis of party selecting a candidate or the association for the particular constituency. Again, it's a very small group of people, so I don't know, you maybe 20 maximum are your association.
We talk about it all the time.
So they're the ones that determine whether or not someone is going to run. Now, hopefully they scout the community and see whether that person is acceptable. But still, it's a very small group who ultimately make the decision. And I think perhaps it would be helpful for political parties to take the position that they have little runoffs, and
we talk about that all the time. So is it foreseeable? I know Richard Lightbourne is a Harbor Island man, if I'm correct.
Well,
you retired at Harbor Island.
There.
You retired at Harbor Island one day, and then as you get to know the people there more and more, is it possible that a Richard Lightbourne would continue to seek political office through that type of association?
Well, I do have a very close association with Harbor Island. In fact, I, on several occasions, on the verge of offering for that constituency.
Right.
So, well, the only drawback is, of course, I'm almost as old as Prime Minister. So, how many years in your life are you going to continue in politics? So, I'm not a full-time politician. I don't make politics my life. I like to try and make a difference and make my contribution. But I think that this next election would have been my last if I was going to run again.
But now that you've got that, and Organ, you had something you wanted to ask?
I'll wait till after this one.
Now that you've got that juice in you, where you've been in the trenches, you've connected with the people, and I know you alluded to it in a little bit. I can imagine that it's not something that you would want to just completely disassociate yourself from. What role do you see you playing in, and forget about politics, but the development of the community that you got to know, aside from politics? Is there an avenue there?
Well, I do hope that if this is my last term in politics, that that I don't simply disassociate myself from the community. So I've been able to see the needs and so on of my area of Montague, and I would hope that I would retain a connection there. And now that I can see the things that need to be addressed, that I might be in a better position to do something about it. Unfortunately, as an opposition member of Parliament, you have little to do in terms of directing what's done or should be done.
Structurally, etc.
We get things as simple as cleaning your parks and the verges. The government goes and appoints people who seemed, in many instances, got no real desire to do their work properly. Government doesn't oversee them. Government doesn't check on them, and I would have fired many of them. Somebody's getting paid for it, and then they expect you to take out of your constituency allowance monies to pay somebody to do it. But someone is being paid for it, and this is one of the whole problems of one of the millions of problems we have in our country, that people don't insist on people performing the work. Accountability is a major problem.
That places you at a disadvantage, not just you, but other MPs as well, because, at the end of the day, the constituents are going to say, I'm in this constituency and nothing is happening, particularly when somebody else is responsible for, cleaning gutters or whatnot, right?
Right.
So what do you spend the bulk of your constituency allowance on? How is that divvied up?
I would think the major portions have been to upgrade the parks. We have 3 the basketball courts in the different parks. The one here on Shirley Street, just past Kemp Road, the one by Uriah McPhee, and the one across the road from Uriah McPhee. It's a tremendous outlet for the younger people in the community, and you pass by any basketball court, you'll see people playing basketball all hours of the day and night. So it does give them a healthy outlet to get involved in. So those parks or the basketball courts were all in need of repair, and so we spent a good bit of the funds on that. You find that the schools are, the only real the major school I have is Uriah McPhee, and a considerable amount of the funds have been applied to providing computer equipment for the school. That's certainly very much needed. The government doesn't provide it, or what it does provide is very limited. And then, of course, and then it gets stolen, so you have to replenish it.
As I sit here and I listen to you, Richard, I say this in a very genuine way. A man of privilege, I don't think you would deny that you have privilege, has embedded himself in the urban areas of your constituency, as well as the other areas, of course. And do you feel when you're walking through those areas, and obviously, you're white, the majority of the constituents in that area are black, how does Richard Lightbourne feel when he's walking through those areas? How are you embraced or not embraced or treated by the people in that area?
I feel very welcomed. I don't think I've had an unpleasant moment in that area since I've been the member of parliament. When you get the joy of seeing the young children that you've had come and we have reading the summer reading program during the summertime, and these little children come along, oh, Mr. Lightbourne, and they're so happy, and they come up and hug you, and it's a very moving thing to see the way they recognize you, and as I say, I've never had an unpleasant experience. There are a lot of different places I go to there where not everybody would go, and I've never felt threatened or any reason for concern.
But it speaks. You see, it speaks to a bigger issue, right? And that is that there's so much strife and need in these areas, but yet people feel completely reluctant or fearful. Do you feel that the urban resident, is open to people coming in and helping, and those people don't have to feel fear? They don't have to feel that they're going to be rejected. Is there validity there?
I think so. Unfortunately, Kemp Road has over the years developed a bad reputation, which I don't think is warranted. It may have been warranted at one time, but certainly is not at this moment in time. There are periods where you have a certain amount of violence that number of people were killed there. In most instances, it seems that people from outside have come in there, but it's something that it seems to be under control in these last 6 months or so in the area.
Okay, you said so.
Well, I wanted to kind of turn my attention to the Free National Movement. A lot has been going on in the party over the past few months. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the current state of the party and where you see that party heading in the next general election. First of all, are you satisfied with what's going on right now in the party?
There's always room for improvement in whatever you're involved with. The party does seem to be getting its act together, as they say, and that's important to get out our candidates and to create a policy position of the party on a lot of different issues, and which has not been done to this point. So, the recent addition of the prospective candidates, I think, was a plus for the party. I think it suggests that we now, now getting it together. I think because of a lot of the problems that the government is experiencing, that they have kept away. They haven't pulled the plug, so to speak. With an election, I think there's so many problems the government has. So fortunately, giving a little breathing space to get the act together, and I feel that it's now moving forward. We've to some degree we've resolved the sort of internal issues that have been plaguing the party for some years now, and after the convention, while it wasn't the huge success that we'd hoped, it nevertheless, I think, has settled the dust. The leader has been confirmed, and so if you're going to move forward with the party, then if you don't accept the leader, then you need to go elsewhere. But I think on the whole, people have accepted that the decision has been taken, and
was all of the, we're in the fourth year now since 2012. We're in 2016. Would you, because I don't know if a lot of people would have thought of it from this perspective, and people certainly would have taken sides. You have to pick a side, I guess, at some point. But having said that, would you see that it was more emblematic of democracy in action, no matter how raw that might have manifested? That people had different points of view, those points of view played out until you got to this point?
I think that was a necessary exercise. I think I agree with you that it maybe didn't look too pretty to some people from the outside, but nevertheless, it's been resolved, and people have to accept that you do have differences within any political organization. Perhaps the government has been more adept at keeping its secrets to itself, but nevertheless, people know about it. It's a small town. You know what's happening.
Okay.
And what's your relationship?
We can take a little break, and when we come back, we'll finish off the last segment of the show. Rogan will start the question. We'll be right back with our special guest, Mr. Richard Lightbourne. Couple of little things I want to do before Rogan has some questions, and that is one. I want to add to my statement about family planning. Family planning, of course, does not just apply to women. It is about the whole community being involved in this process. So I don't want it to seem skewed. That, in my view, and I've been talking about family planning now for 20 years on the radio. Family planning is not just about women. There are more challenges technically or methodologically speaking with regard to men, but it has to be about all of us, the whole community. And the other thing I have to say, because we got to get ourselves a little plug, Roogie, and that is, of course, this is the first show that Richard has been on since the convention. The convention was what, July? Eh?
Right.
Yeah, that's a little while, man. So, you get a little high five, Rogan, a little high five, All right. So now you had a couple of things you want to...
I just have one last question, really. We're still talking about the FNM, and you said that the dust seems to be settling and they're getting their act together. And I'm now wondering, what's your relationship like now with the leader, Dr. Hubert Minnis? Where does that stand?
I don't have a great deal of contact with the leader, but my... exchanges with him are always very pleasant, very respectful. I think we've got to the point where he accepts we had our differences, and now that the convention is held, it's been resolved. So if he if he had any issue with me, I think it was simply because I supported someone else. But I mean, every political party has to be big enough to accept that. Yeah.
Well, we looked at, it was ironically at the time that was your convention was going on was the same time that the Democratic convention was going on. And I think the model that people saw there was, look, you have these down and dirty fights during the process, but when it's time to come together, you come together because you have a particular mission, whichever party you belong to. You have an objective, and obviously the only way you're going to win that objective is not to be divided.
Right. Well, as you can see, I'm still here. I'm still FNM, and I can do everything possible that I can to assist in making sure that there's a change in government in this country.
Right. Now, let me ask you now, let's just get off of the political stuff, and let's talk about the national stuff. And, of course, there's a political element to that. Where, and one of the things that I take a little exception to often is that everything is bad, nothing is good, as opposed to there may be some elements that are good, there's some elements of bad. That's just my thing in terms of looking at different, I look at the merit of each issue. Maybe from someone's perspective, all is bad. But what do you see as the most critical issues facing the country?
The most...
That's holding back our ability to go to the next level.
Well, we need to get the economy in order.
Mm-hmm.
The crime is still very much in everyone's mind. Yeah. The fact that we've had fewer murders in the last month or so than previously, I don't think settles in everybody's mind that is behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, all these things affect your crime, affects the development, the economy of the country. What foreigner is going to come to this country and invest, or what Bahamian is going to consider investing somewhere when he's got no faith in the system, and education. And so until we get to the point where the D grade average or D minus or whatever we're at is a thing of the past, it's going to be a real problem.
Yeah.
So
that's a break. That's a phone break. You want to take the call? You can take the call. I don't mind. We can do anything we want. But you talk. Dr. David Allen was on the show on Monday, and he talked about a nation in kind of a traumatic state. And then he had some other things to talk about, but one of the things that I think resonated, in fact, someone tagged it on a post, was that, nothing stops a bullet more than a job. Okay?
Oh, he said that?
Yeah. Okay. And so it boiled, but you see how we try to, Richard, solve problems by, I don't know, we're all confused, but the reality is we know we need the job, so that's the economy. But we know in order for you to get a job, you got to be educated. Okay? So you have all these things. And do you think we'll ever get to a point, because this is critical for the wealth, not the wealth, but the health of our nation going forward, that after an election is won, and this, I know I'm asking a politician, even though he's novice, after an election is won, that in certain things like education, the economy, crime, that like how you have now decided after the fight for the leadership, you are an FNM, that after the fight for an election, we can decide we're Bahamian. Do you think we could ever have a parliament that decides that, or as soon as we lose, the next objective is to win?
Politicians, it seems, want to stay in power. That is certainly the main goal, as I see it, and they'll do anything virtually to retain it. So we're going to we're having difficulty getting beyond that. There's seldom you will see politicians congratulate the other one. That was a good thing. There's not too many things that we support each other on. And unfortunately, you see, when government starts selling a product often it's from a political standpoint rather than a realistic one. So take our National Health Insurance. It's a sham that they're sitting around trying to sell to the people as if something is happening now. Now, the ultimate goal is obviously something that we all aspire to, but we're nowhere near that at this point.
How does a citizen, though, and this is a very basic question, how does a citizen, and I think the PR on this is that there are 200,000 citizens without insurance. So how do those 200,000 citizens sieve through the political, spewing to determine, well, is he just saying that it's no good? Not you particularly, I'm being rhetorical, but are they just saying it's no good because if they say it's good, that make the other guy look bad? I mean, good, or is it really not good? How does a citizen get that capacity to do that?
Well, I don't think anybody said it's bad. The ultimate goal.
Well, I don't mean the goal. I'm talking about the method.
Well, the method is you criticize it on the basis that what is being promised or asserted as if it's here now is nowhere near now. When you go to clinics that the roof's fallen in, been leaking everywhere, the air conditioning broken down. It's just nonsense. There are no medical supplies, no doctor on these different islands, and yet you want to talk as if it's all being cleared up overnight. The ultimate goal is something that's wonderful, but we're nowhere near it. We don't have the facilities to even start talking about it. And when you start hearing these ads about my Grammy she's going to be able to go and get this whatever. Well, some of this stuff you have now anyway, but you end up talking as if it's a cure, and if you no more cookouts and whatnot. Well, the funny thing was, two good friends of mine had big darn cookouts these last couple of weeks. So it's when you try to. This is part of the political game that is deplorable. When you try to treat the people in a way that you want to bamboozle them into thinking that it's happening now. Let's be honest about it. I agree with you. But how because of the game? Yes. Because of the game. So let's use this game analogy. Okay, we're the pawns. Okay, the citizen is the pawn. How does the pawn know where to move? The pawn, by the nature of the chess board, can only move in so many directions, right? It doesn't have the capacity to, go all around and check this out and all that. It can only move, if I remember correctly, from chess diagonally or something like that, right? So the reality is that's all they have for them. And meanwhile, the king and the queen and the bishop and the rooks, they're just doing all of this stuff. We just end up at the end of the day get eaten up. So the question is, how do we change our approach to things so that we can say, okay, you know what? The aspects that Richard Lightbourne are talking about, that's valid. The aspects that they're talking about, those are valid. They need to come to some compromise. Could it be that the failings of the opposition, and I'm talking about in general, like what's happening in the U.S., is that they don't present an alternate plan? You're able to criticize, one plan, but that you don't put forward your plan. Is that possible? Well, that's, I think, a valid argument that people have been using for years. Yes, general perception is that the role of opposition is to oppose, and while you can understand that to a degree, don't let that overwhelm you in terms of your attitude. You need to get together occasionally, and it does happen once in a while. But the general position is people don't appreciate you as an opposition unless you cause in hell, and they can see that. Yeah.
And the government, both. I mean, and let's face it, governments, FNM, PLP, are not necessarily receptive of the opposition's input, are they?
Not at all, no.
You know,
They look at it sometimes as a win. Like, you know, if they do something good and if the FNM were to congratulate them on that, they'll say, okay, see, you don't need to change from us because we're doing everything right, rather than being mature about it and saying, okay, the opposition was willing to say, you know, we're doing something good. And so I think that makes a lot of opposition parties reluctant to say, you know what, Ed, you did a great job.
Yeah.
You know?
But
so
you know,
just oppose.
you missed something that Richard Lightbourne said earlier, and this is why, you know, you have to have the right type. You see, if you know, when we were talking about these democracy issues and about who gets to run and who gets to be in Parliament, and you talk about the right type of person. Do you notice that Richard Lightbourne said, "I'm not a full-time politician," because I think the problem is that many people, this is their livelihood.
Career politicians.
Okay, they've decided this is the path I'm going on, and because of that, they do everything they can to
Retain
their position.
power.
Why did you not see yourself as a full-time? Why did you not see yourself as a full-time politician?
Well, I would only been a full-time politician if we were in government, but you know, if we were the government.
Good point.
But as an opposition member, you got to keep your daytime job. You know, the monies that are paid to a politician who's in opposition are minimal. You know, so if I got two children at university and you're getting $28,000 a year.
You could. I think you could pay you'll have about 8,000 left.
Right.
But how do we? Okay, and we got 4 minutes left. If you, having been in that chair, and you've always, I think you said you always wanted to, you always considered being in that position. Right. Is it really offline to say to the public, look, if we want good people, and we want them to devote good time into this thing, we've got to have a decent compensation so that they can be full-time, opposition or not? Or is that something that's just apolitical?
No, unfortunately, I think the politicians are regarded by the public as doing such a poor job. They don't want to pay them a penny more than they're getting at the moment. In fact, they feel they're overpaid now. So to get to the
they ripping you off?
So there's no checks and balances. Right. No ability to determine what's happening. There's no accountability. So you should get to a position where you have the confidence that a politician is not milking the cow, and that he's being paid a salary, which is fair compensation for what he's doing, and the public are happy with his performance. In the same way, we have the situation, say, with our judges. Judges are poorly paid. So to attract better judges, you have to offer more. The working environment is really very difficult for them. They don't have a support staff. So there's so many issues there that are requiring attention by a government, and serious attention to address those problems.
The pillars of our institutions.
And the politicians are, in view of the public, they're overpaid. So that's going to be a hard sell to go to Parliament and say, I don't think you're paid enough. Let's give you another $100,000. Right.
Well, Richard, listen, I want to thank you for coming on the show and answering the tough questions. It's you know, we all do. Listen, during the referendum, I called arguments stupid. People took it in the wrong way. I didn't call the people stupid, but it is what it is. And so you learn from those experiences, and then you got to move on. But anyway, listen, I want to thank you for coming and answering the tough questions and being the first, having our show the first that you came on to.
Well, I thank you very much for inviting me, and I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Kendrick? Okay. You can be here next week? Okay. Rogan, thank you very much. All right.